Yeah. It's good to know that about the new 3DS, 3DS Advance, whatever they're gonna call it. I really hope they change the name because, oh my god, that's so stupid. Like it worked. I guess it worked for New Super Mario Brothers because it was a new style game based on an older game. So but when you say the new something when it's a new product like the new, it's basically what iPad does. Like the new iPad. Oh, you mean the iPad 6? Oh no, they didn't call it the iPad 6. They just called it the iPad. Fuck. But yeah. Congratulations, Australia. Getting that system next freaking month. Man, I don't even know when we're gonna get it. After Christmas, most likely, or maybe before Christmas. You said what? November? You guys are getting November. It would make sense to try to push that out to get it ready by December, because that would be a good thing. But then again, they would probably be competing with the Wii U too. I know they're probably going to want to push some Wii U units, especially once Smash Brothers drops, and they still haven't confirmed a release date for that. Not to mention Bayonetta. I heard about that. Bayonetta 2, I should say, had some abysmal sales, and it's not too surprising because it's a niche. It's an M-rated game on a system and from a company that's notably I wouldn't say kid-friendly, more family-oriented. So a game like Bayonetta, which is a niche title because of its mature rating and its genre, going up against Smash Brothers, you put that in through just not even a week. It's pretty much like Scott Pilgrim the movie. That came out the same weekend as Expendables, and I think the movie bombed because of it, because nobody went to see it. And that's a shame because as much as I hate Ramona, and not too impressed with Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, which is funny because as Scott Pilgrim's voice, he actually did a really good job. He just didn't come through. It's the lack of facial expressions that really kills Michael Cera in Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim himself is a very expressive character, but yeah, sidetrack. But you can't take something that has a niche appeal and put it up against something that's reaching out to a broader audience. Like, any movie that tried to come out the same day, same weekend as Expendables was doomed to fail. It's like, I think Marvel and DC are trying to do something like that. I think Captain America 3 was supposed to be coming out the same time as one of the DC movies, and they just pushed it back, because that's not a good idea. So, releasing Bayonetta 2 with so much stacked up against it, and then releasing it in the wake of Smash Brothers was just dumb. I think, at least in the US, we're getting it October 24th or something like that. That's a good 3 weeks time. I think a good time for the novelty and the newness of Smash Brothers to cool off. Because the Wii U needs some games, and I think Bayonetta 2, as a game that I wouldn't normally play, it just seemed like it was packed so much value, getting 2 games for the price of 1. And you get online play with another person. The only problem is I don't have another person to play the game with. And I just picked up Hyrule Warriors too. Little thing about that, because I'm a Zelda fan, Zelda fanatic almost. But this is just an honest, review of the game as I played it in the demo. If you're a Zelda fan and you don't like Hyrule, and you don't like Dynasty Warriors, you're not going to fall in love with Hyrule Warriors. It is Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda skin. There's no getting around that. If you go into it knowing what you're going to get, you won't be disappointed, because obviously, set the bar low. Because when it comes to video games, Legend of Zelda is at the top of the freaking list. Like, even with E3, when the Legend of Zelda freaking Wii U was even announced, just a little... Yeah, sorry about that, but just even that was enough to make everybody shut the fuck up. Zelda has that much impact, so Dynasty Warriors is, I think it's been called the Call of Duty of Japan. I don't even really know or agree with that, because Call of Duty is some really stupid shit. But it is mindless. There are things that they could do to make Dynasty Warriors a better game. It feels like there should be a strategy element, but there isn't. You're just walking around slashing people up. You should be able to command troops. There are troops there, but a lot of them stand around. Not just the enemies, but your own troops. But all in all, it's not a bad game. I mean, it's a great game on its own. as long as you don't pretend that it is the newest, greatest Zelda, and it shakes up the formula. It's just a fun collaboration thing, the kind of thing you wouldn't normally see. You know, I think Nintendo wants to try and do that. You get Pokken, whatever the game will be, the collaboration with Namco, where you get Tekken-style Pokemon. That's some crazy stuff. I mean, if there's one thing that Nintendo suffers from, it's lack of third-party support, but what's the point of getting third-party support when you can get those same games on other systems? I mean, the reason I don't have an Xbox One or a PS4 is because I have a PC that's more powerful than either of them, and Steam. And I can get the games cheaper, I can get the games faster, they run better, they'll usually be higher resolution, and mods. Freaking Just Cause 2 is like an old PS3 game now, the PC game, but on the PC you get massive multiplayer, you don't get that on the console. But, yeah, getting back to Hyrule Warriors, if you're a Dynasty Warriors fan, you'll be happy. If you're a Zelda fan, probably not so much. If you can just, I don't want to say lower expectations because it's not a bad game. If you just know what you're getting into, is what you're saying. Like, you don't go into a freaking Sylvester Stallone flick expecting like Inception level brain fuckery. You know, you go into those movies to have a good time, to just enjoy the stupid action as it is. I think that's what the appeal of Expendables was. If you approach the game with that mindset, because video gaming is all about the mindset that you approach things with. Any game can be a good game if you approach it from the right way, except for, you know, the ones that are inherently bad, like freaking Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, but that's legendarily bad. AVGN already covered that, like, twice, technically 3 times, I think. But, you know, even I can admit that, as vapid as Call of Duty is, it can be, you know, I think cathartic is the word I'm looking for. I'm not sure I even pronounced that right, but just you go in and you kill some things. I don't even go online because, you know, the real problem with Call of Duty is the Call of Duty 12-year-olds. The online thing is absolutely toxic. But I can go on and just kill, like, you know, just kill some bots. You know, just go and get a few kills. You know, it's a nice way to kill time, just to, you know, let off some steam a little bit, especially when you work as an adult who works retail. Epic scale retail fail. But, you know, that's something that Hyrule Warriors is really good at. You get, you know, 1 versus 1,000. Legion Slayer, I think it's been called. It's good for that. You go into it knowing what you're going to get, and you can't be disappointed. And honestly, there's a pretty good story. I love the way the characters are designed. Even though, like, Impa still kind of feels weird to be like a big brutish knight kind of thing, but I like their style. Sometimes you have to look at something that's different and, you know, appreciate it that it is different. I think there's no question that Batman the Animated Series is probably one of the most celebrated, if not the best, like, animated series ever made. And it took a lot of liberties with the characters. I think we all know, like, everybody is now familiar with Mr. Freeze and his wife being frozen and all that, but that's not what the character was like originally. I grew up with the Adam West Batman, well, no, I don't think it was Hanna-Barbera, was it Filmation? But it was Adam West, you know, voicing Batman in those shows. Mr. Freeze was just, you know, a corny ice-themed villain. I see what you did there. But, you know, animated series came around and completely rewrote the character, and everybody fell in love with that because it was a great writing. And then there's Harley Quinn, who is now who is a big part, kind of the Batman canon. And she was the original character created for the show. It was just meant to be a one-shot character, but she just worked so well. Wow, really got off the beaten path. But Nintendo Direct, the new 3DS. I really hope they change. To summarize, I really hope they change the name for the US release, because, you know, new 3DS is going to be stupid when it's no longer new. It works in Japan because new Nintendo 3DS, it's an English word. I don't think they'll call it Shin 3DS or some shit over here. Just 3DS Advance, HDS, or, you know, something that really pushes it to a different thing, like DS to 3DS. Because the 3DS, 2DS thing was enough to fuck people's minds. They call, what's the difference between the 3DS and the 2DS? I don't get it. Well, does that need to? No, it's the same system that they just took out the hinge, took out the 3D. It plays all the same games, it just has a different name. And this is going the opposite way. This plays different games displays different games, but it has the same name. It needs a different name. It needs to be marketed as a different system, because it is a different system. When you have something the reason why this is different from the original DS, aside from the size, is because it has a more powerful processor. It has features that the older one didn't have. Extra buttons and shit like that. That's what the new 3DS has. It has extra features. The XL should have had the analog stick to begin with, but yeah. But when all is said and done, I will be getting the new 3DS Advance, or whatever it's going to be called, because that's just freaking a brilliant design. I mean, as much as I like using this thing, like having to use this, it's just a little sleep there to keep the games from falling out. But having to lug this around and lugging around the Circle Pad Pro on top of that, like I have to have a bag to carry everything, and it's really inconvenient. But and every time I start up, if I ever start up Monster Hunter without the Circle Pad, it goes apeshit trying to figure it out, and then I have to go back in the options to reset it to tell it there is a Circle Pad. Because trying to play that game without the Circle Pad is a pain in the ass. But yeah, near-field communication built right in, exclusive games, customization options both internally and externally, SD cards, simple XD cards, not freaking proprietary shit. It's a well put together system, but so is the Vita. But the Vita the marketing for the Vita is ass. And some people tell you that there are games there. They just seem to be really niche. Like seem to be like focused completely on one set of games, like mostly RPGs. And if you're into RPGs, that's fine. But I just wish it had a broader game appeal, because like there are games on the 3DS I can only get on the 3DS, like Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, that aren't watered down ports of the console versions. Like somebody was showing me about like, oh, you got Uncharted. Like, well, there's Uncharted on freaking PlayStation. Why do I need to get Uncharted on this system too? Unless if you're into the story, that's fine. But the big thing about the 3DS was the Street Pass, and how that changes, and that changes gameplay up and things like that. The Vita, I think, is as good, if not a better system in terms of how it's constructed, and the screen is big, bright, and beautiful, and HD, and the 3DS's screens, even on the new 3DS, don't look that good. I mean, freaking Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 looks fantastic on that system, even though only somebody like me, like a fighting game nerd, would notice some of the differences. Like some of the stages have no animations in the background, like Hulk's mouth does not move when he talks, things like that. And some combos, like freaking Iron Fist's combos, don't work the same as they do on the console version, which kind of pisses me off. But what can you do? But it is, in all intents and purposes, like pretty much a console-worthy game. Wow, I've ranted pretty long. Yeah. We're gonna cut this off here because I went off on a tangent. But that was the Nintendo Direct Australia. Hopefully we'll have something more for US at some point soon. Take it easy, Internet. It's Australia. Have fun with that. Let me know what you guys think of it. Later.